Out of Asia into Europe, Turkey is unique, a land of the East with a toehold on the European mainland. This geographical quirk, Turkey now hopes to translate to its political and economic advantage. The land of Constantinople and mighty empire seeks membership of that most urbane conglomeration of the modern West, the common market. The Istanbul ferry crosses the Bosphorus from Asia to Europe in just 15 minutes. You're still in the same country, still in the same great city. Only the continents have changed. Turkey's passage into the EEC will be nothing like as easy. There's a variety of outstanding social and political issues, all like mines in the water, threatening to sink their plans. It's 9 years since the last military coup. Today, the army's presence seems less forbidding. There have been 2 general elections, each time the franchise having widened. The hard face of the regime has softened, but appearance is never any guarantee of substance. With Turkey's application to join the common market pending, what are you going to do about the continuing reports of systematic torture in your jails? Amnesty International say there are reports of torture daily.
I think it's wrong. It is all wrong. It is before 1983 or 84, and unfortunately Amnesty International doesn't believe us. He believes some of the extremes.
Well, in January this year they were reporting there was torture still going on.
No, that's not true.
These photographs of victims of torture in a Turkish prison were taken last month. And only 2 weeks ago, Ali Reza Kurt became a victim of the Turkish police. He and a number of other students innocently went to the police to report a crime. They were detained for a week.
We were taken to the police station and attacked by 15 or 20 policemen. We were blindfolded, then taken upstairs one by one and tortured with electric shocks. They tied electrodes to our toes, ears, chest and other parts of our bodies. We were also suspended from the ceiling. After that, they attacked us indecently with a bottle.
Such ugly tales are still commonplace. Turkey's main opposition leader, Erdal İnönü, the man who could be prime minister by the end of the year, says the authorities here have too much license, too much scope for repression.
Well, there are various ways. A police takes you for questioning, and during the questioning he beats you. Well, that is a violation of human rights. This is something you should not do. At the moment, still, the police can keep someone incommunicado for 2 weeks. That is far too long. Also, during this interrogation, the suspected person cannot have the support of a defense counsel. This also must be changed.
Up to 10 million Turks, nearly 20% of the population, are Kurds. Their labour is crucial to the farm-based economy. Yet until recently, they could be jailed for speaking their language. And many in government still refuse to recognise their existence, referring to them not as Kurds, but Mountain Turks. There have been mass trials of those Kurds who fought for a separate state. Once again, there's evidence of torture. Do Perinçek has spent more than 6 years in jail for his campaigns against government repression. His magazine, Towards 2000, has been prosecuted 44 times. The last issue was banned. It had dared suggest that Turkey's ill-treatment of its minority Kurds was similar to Bulgaria's ill-treatment of its ethnic Turks.
Turkish authorities and Bulgarian authorities have same mentality. For example, Bulgarian authorities said that no Turks in Bulgaria, and Turkish authorities said that no Kurds in Turkey. And we have protested this mentality, this racist behavior of Turkish government.
The Kurdish problem has been complicated with the arrival of 36,000 Kurds from Iraq. They've spent the last 10 months in wretched conditions in camps inside the southern Turkish border. They'd left their villages in Iraq when the government there started bombing them with chemical weapons. Now they're safe from that, but hardly secure for the future. The tents offer little protection from temperatures which now rise to 130 degrees and plummet in the winter. The water supply is sporadic, sanitation is bad. Sickness travels quickly through the camp, but as always, it's the children who are most vulnerable. Diphtheria, measles and sunstroke all kill here. The infant mortality rate is predictably grim. Since September, more than 400 babies have died in this camp alone. That's one death in every 7 families. The Kurds are trapped here. Their Turkish hosts won't let them leave the camps and won't allow them international relief by giving them status as political refugees. The Turks seem afraid that any move could compromise their own stand against Turkey's indigenous Kurds. So these people spend their days in the heat, idle and wishful. The little boy has a letter.
It's a letter from our children to the Madam Margaret Thatcher. In this letter said, we hope from you to help us because you are also mother. Our wish and our will from Kurdish children to the English children.
In fact, the chances of salvation in Britain are slimmer than ever. The Home Office has recently introduced visa requirements for all visitors from Turkey. European governments are well aware of conditions here. 2 representatives of the British Embassy in Ankara are the latest in a long line of official visitors to come and see for themselves. Meanwhile, the people confined here, denied refugee status or recognition, are becoming increasingly cynical about the West's supposed concern but failure to act. In that, at least, they're at one with the Turkish government.
36,000 Kurdish refugees coming from Iraq. We are helping them, and I wonder, in the last 1 year, all the human rights advocates in the Western world did not make a small help. I asked them, I will have this help of these people immigrated to Turkey, and you take the other half. But there was no answer. They did not want to take a single Kurd. If you are very much after the Kurdish problem, why you did not accept those people? Why you put this visa requirement?
So you're saying Britain has
Yes.
behaved badly towards Kurds?
Yes, Kurds or Turks, whatever.
What would you like Britain to do?
I think there should be no visa requirement.
And then, rejecting off-camera interjections from his officials, Mr. Rosal promised there would be retaliation. Will you be introducing visas for British citizens coming to Turkey?
Yes, we will. We
will?
Yes.
When will that happen?
I don't know. There is a time limit.
You're going to introduce them
Yes,
now?
we are going to introduce.
That's in response to Britain's
Yes.
introduction?
Not only official, but all of them, I believe.
All passports?
I think so.
Won't that damage your tourist trade, for example?
But we will give them easily in the doors.
This is what we call tit for tat.
Yes.
Turkey is most different, least European, spiritually. The nation is overwhelmingly Muslim. Islamic fundamentalism grew in the early 80s, when, in the absence of political parties, it became a safety valve. But now the Islamic movement has peaked at around 8%. Most observers say it should not be considered a factor when weighing Turkey's efforts to join the EEC.
İslami akımların ortak pazara girme yolundaki
The
itirazları
Islamic movement's
kamuoyunda
opposition to
çok
Turkey's membership is not supported by public opinion.
Ancak
It's a minority view, but in the West, this Islamic movement is always exaggerated, and because Turkey is Muslim, there is this feeling that it should not be allowed into the EEC.
Batı'nın tamamıyla
These are the West's hallucinations, they are illusions.
Illusions or not, the Prime Minister seems to think they could hamper Turkey's application.
It's up to Europeans. I mean, if they see that European community is a Christian society, there is no Muslim country can come here, which is not said to us. I mean, they talk about human dignity, human rights. But I always feel that this kind of feeling is under the underground.
You really believe that?
Yes, I think so.
Any reason for that belief?
I think we will see it. We'll see it.
Do you believe that that jeopardizes your
I think
hopes?
there is some kind of effect.
But it's events like the violent suppression of May Day marchers protesting at economic conditions which most weaken Turkey's case. An economy with a 70% rate of inflation is bad enough. A police riot in which a demonstrator is shot dead without warning is probably beyond the pale. It's interesting that the Turkish people are in favour of joining the EEC. They believe it will provide some protection for their human rights, and it might deter another military coup. But at this point, they and their government look likely to be disappointed. On Turkey's present record, Asia's entry into Europe could be delayed for some years yet.